Welcome back to the boardroom, all of you board members. So I hope you are enjoying Love and Marriage DC as much as I am. I see the potential in the personalities, right? I see the possibilities of where this show can go, right? And I'm sure you do too. Love the fashion, right? Even the men bring the fashion. Love it. The style. I'm telling you, it's nothing like that DC style, right? And then you add the fact the weather, the cold weather, they have to really mix it up. They have to get rid of the t-shirts sometime. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So when the episode starts, Ashley is going full force on Miss Winter Williams. So here's the deal. When you share your business, you have to be open to all comments. If you're not open to all comments, then don't share any of your business, right? What has social media taught us? Don't post a picture if you don't want everybody to comment. It is unrealistic, unbelievable, and absolutely ludicrous to believe that you share the story of your second marriage and people are not going to go in on what you said. So you think Winter Williams kind of second guesses whether or not she should have shared so much or came out with so much? Well, you know what? It's too late. So in this episode, Miss Ashley, who we all have come to really like because she's so authentic, right? And it's so easy. She's good for television. Ashley says to her, "You are a relationship expert, but you're not married." And remember, her husband, DJ Silva, said, well, it's kind of like a nail technician whose nails are never done, or a hairstylist whose hair is never done. So a relationship expert who doesn't do well in relationship. That's kind of what it is. But Ashley said she is not successful as a wife, so how can she be a relationship expert? And she just came out and asked Miss Winter Williams, how in the world did you marry this man and never been to his apartment? And you dated him a whole year? Remember now, Winter said that she did not go to his apartment because of COVID. But she dated him for a whole year during COVID. And they got married during COVID. So make it make sense, right? Because it's not adding up. So they dated a whole year. He never been to her place and she's never been to his place. And how about this? Now we know in DC is one of those places where you don't necessarily need a car. It all depends on where you live and work. She didn't know he didn't have a car. Now let's keep this in mind. Winter Williams is 40 years old and this man, her ex-husband, is 60 years old. So certain things should be a part of the natural daily conversation, don't you think? Am I living under a rock? Okay, but here's the deal. We all must admit, we've all been Winter Williams. I know I have, but I think I was about 22. I was about 22 dating someone. I was the one with the car, so I drove us everywhere. Luckily, he did have a few dollars to pay for the movie or to pay for the club, but I did have the car, and he was living with his mom, and I had my own apartment. Well, you know, at 18, I had my own apartment. So, yeah, I've been where she is, but I was about 22, 21, 22. To be in that position at 40, yikes. What have you been doing and what lessons have you been paying attention to? And think about it. This was her second marriage, not her first. So once you got, unfortunately, bamboozled by the first husband, don't you have all of your radar up? Aren't you scrutinizing, second guessing, verifying, back checking, friend and not analyzing? Aren't you doing all of that before you decide to marry somebody who's 20 years older? Which is not bad, because 20 years older, she could have been set up for life. He could have had a lot of money. She could have been great. You know, it could have been a great relationship. And then to only find out he's living in his parents' basement and doesn't have a car. Okay, so you didn't verify where he worked? You didn't ask around town to figure out where he came from? Ah, but that's right. So the word on the street is the Samuels introduced them to each other. So that means this guy has been part of his profile is to front. Because if he's in the Samuels circle, that means he has a lot of assets and a lot of dough. How could he be in the Samuels circle and be a fraud? Unless everything he presented to Chris and Monique Samuels was fake. And he's not who he says he is. Now, remember the picture I showed you guys? That picture reminds me of the dude on Good Times. All of the hustlers that used to come by there and hustle JJ. I'm telling you, that's what I said when I saw him. Now, I do admit the picture she shared, Winter Williams, does him a better job, but he comes off as very creepy. And you know what? I do hope they get a chance to really share this story throughout the season, because I think it's very interesting and it's a lesson for a lot of women, right? It's a lesson for a lot of women. We all have our Winter Williams moments, but those moments should happen before 25, right? Those moments should not still be happening when you have, I think she has 3 children and you're 40 years old, and your relationship experts make it make sense. Someone so bold, so confident is so naive. But you know what? I think we've all see that in our daily lives, when we see people who really are solid in certain areas, but when it comes to relationships, they make bad decisions. Like I said, I've been there. 22. Didn't go back. What they say? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Oh, no. Well, I got it wrong, didn't I? You know what I mean. But I like Winter Williams. I think she brings a lot to the show. I want to hear more from Kevin, and I commend Chris for insisting that Kevin tell his side of the story. Now, it could all be a lie, and in his mind it's true, but I insist. Him to insist was a good thing. I like that about Chris. Chris is a nice guy, a respectable guy, and I really hope that Monique starts to reappreciate what their marriage is all about. Anyway, so Ashley really asked all the questions that we as the audience were like, yes, please ask this, but that don't make sense. And Ashley asked it with a straight face, right? So that is something. So we see that Erana is a runner. Her and Jaime are running. She runs 5 miles. Wow, I commend her. I'm jealous, right? Now, that's the kind of discipline I want to have one day in my life, where I love exercise, I love working out, or I love fitness. I don't think I'll ever be a long distance runner. That's never going to be my reality, but I admire people who are capable and who have gotten to that level of commitment in their physical exercise. And then to learn that her dad was in prison when she was growing up. So that's why it aches her soul to see that Jaime and little Jaime have such a difficult time connecting. But I also see from the energy that I get from TV, and this is just my perspective, Jaime Sr. is not very nurturing to little Jaime. I guess he still operates from a place of disappointment and a place of hurt. And we know as parents, children are going to disappoint us or do things counter to what we tell them. But every time they do it, you gotta move past it. You can't wear that chip on you, because it shows up every time you interact. So whenever we see Jaime and little Jaime interact, you can tell he just wants to cuss him out for what he did 6 months ago. But that's not gonna win it. That's not gonna win his confidence and total trust in you. So you can see his availability and his soft, gentle side as a dad. You can see it in the other son, the disabled son. But you don't see that same level of patience and compassion with little Jaime. And I guess because he was banking on him to do so much. But everybody has their timeline. And the goal as the parent is to demonstrate to them or your child that I am here for you no matter what. Like I tell my kids, there is nothing you can do that will stop me from loving you. And if your child feels that way, no matter what condition they're in their mind, they know they can always come back home or they can always come to you. That's the way little Jaime needs to feel about his father. And that kind of connection or availability is not present. You can see it on TV. Now they got the style together and the family's all in sync with style, but there's a major emotional disconnect between that father and son that they have to work on. Then we move on after the dinner, after the run between Erana and Jaime. I know I butcher her name. We go to Monique and Chris, and they're getting ready to go to Africa, and Monique is still pissed that Chris told her to shush at the dinner table, and he said, I didn't say shut up. He said, I just said shush, let him talk. And you can still see that authentic tension between the two of them. I know some people say this is her storyline, but they really have a challenge. It's really a challenge, and they need to address it, and I hope they are. I hope that trip to Africa really was a calm place for them to reset. Anyway, so Winter and her mom meet up. They talk about how he went to Winter's mom, who's probably almost the same age or a little older, and asked Winter's mom, I'm laughing, if he could date her. Okay, so let me tell you, usually I think this is a red flag. Usually a slick stuff is slicker than slick. And he gonna do the manipulation early. He gonna find all of the soft points, and he gonna try to manipulate everybody around you. So for him to go to her mom and ask the mom if he can date her, he was trying to cover all the bases. Why is that? So they won't question who he is. They won't question his background. They won't question his story. They won't question what he's telling them. So how do you get somebody off your back? You kiss up, right? And once you disarm them, what happens? They're not gonna question you. They're not gonna question where you come from, where you live, who your parents, how long you been in DC, how many children you have, how many time you been married, what's your net worth. Why? Because they love chatting it up with you. Because you've broken down that wall, and you've demonstrated that you're such a nice person. And that's clearly what Kevin Williams did. Because the mom said she regrets allowing him to encouraging Winter to date him, even though there was an age difference. The mom said she regrets it. Yeah, because he pulled in. He said, oh, let me go talk to her mom. Now, if there was a dad there, you know how men step to men. Because the dad would have what? The dad would have felt, what is the term? The dad would have recognized that this was game. Anyway, so moving right along, I really love DJ Silva. DJ Silva and Ashley, it could really be love and marriage with the Silvas, because they both are bringing the most to the show, right? DJ Silva is so honest and forthcoming. I've even started to follow him on Instagram. And he talked about how when he was 13 years old, he was shot and he was paralyzed for 7 months. He's been to jail. He had an addiction, and he has a friend right now in jail for life. He also talked about his mom died at 10, when he was 10, and his dad died when he was 18. So after he said that, I was like, oh my God, it is nothing but God's grace. It is remarkable that he is where he is and what he has accomplished. And you know what, too? When you look at DJ Silva, you don't see the wounds of all he's been through. So whoever he's had in his life and the way his parents raised him certainly sowed incredible seeds, even though he went off track. Because you don't see the wounds. You know, a lot of times when people have had hard lives, hard experiences, lots of disappointments and hurts, they don't have full contentment and completion or joy or happiness or fulfillment on them. But he does. He looks like he's present when he's, whatever he's doing, DJing or whatever. He looks like he's fully engaged. Even at the dinner party, he was offering his comments. He was really in detail. So he looks like he's capable of being present, which is remarkable considering that all he's been through. I'm like, wow. And he shared all of that with Lil Jaime because the dad, Big Jaime, Senior Jaime, asked DJ Silva to talk to him. He said, you know, sometimes it takes someone else outside of the family to convince a young person to go the right way, to do the right thing. And I think that's absolutely right. I think that young people tend to close out their parents, ignore their parents, but someone in the grocery store can say the same exact thing and they'll get it. And you know what? As parents, we don't care who tells you. We just want you to get it. So kudos to DJ Silva for being so supportive in that regard and trying to serve as a role model. And then we see Jaime also is trying to push the other son to become a DJ. And DJ Silva says, I wonder if he really wants to become a DJ, or is this his dad pushing him? So I guess Jaime is trying to figure out what career can his other son have. So Jaime really as a father is trying to figure out, how do I support my sons and push my sons to do all that they can with their lives. So we go on. It closes out with Winter and Ashley and Tasha and Erana. I'm gonna butcher her name because you know what? I've never heard that name before in my life. Erana? I've never heard that name before in my life. I'm not. Why they didn't just name her Erica? Okay? I've never heard that name before in my life. If you heard that name before, please put it in the comments because I'm like, stop it. Anyway, so they all have this lunch. They get together and it's like Ashley don't like Winter because she goes right back at her. This is supposed to be a lunch where they all kind of reset, regroup, and talk about, you know, no judgments. Let's just figure out how to be friends. And Ashley just throws Winter back under the bus. And she told Erana to join Winter under the bus because Ashley told Winter, invited the girls out, and she said to Ashley, I wanted us to get together since we are friends and just to get to know each other in a different setting. And Ashley told her, we are not friends, we are acquaintances. And then Ashley said to, and then Winter said she said, we don't hang out like that. So Winter asked Ashley, are you and Erana friends? She says, no, we're not friends either. Huh. So Ashley's the kind that just doesn't play, right? She just doesn't play. She said, if I don't hang out with you and know you on a deep level, we are not friends. We are acquaintances. So I guess Erana was kind of surprised because she went with her to a doctor's appointment in this episode to get Botox under her arms for the sweating. So surprise, surprise, she's not your friend. She's just an acquaintance. And you wasted your time. But Erana reminds me in that scene, in that moment, of Dr. Jackie. Very sophisticated, going to offer her commentary, but is not going to get into the fight. She's going to remain and remember that a camera is rolling and I have my reputation to protect. So that is the scene. The show was, you know, there was some key moments. I think it's going to really pick up next episode. Monique was not in this episode. Remember, they were going to Africa only for a quick second when they were talking about the dinner with all the friends, and then they were not in the episode for the latter part of the episode. So it moved right along. But we do need to see more of Erana's and Jaime's relationship. We need to see them in an organic, authentic way. I understand that Jaime still works in law enforcement, so maybe that's why he's so hesitant to be all in on the show, but he is near retirement allegedly. So hopefully they will become more open, because when you look at their social media and their TikTok, they're a lot more energetic and they're a lot more fun and they're a lot more relaxed. So why wouldn't they bring that same energy to TV? I think they're great, but they got to reveal more. And I think that's probably coming up. We will certainly see. But for this episode, I'm going to certainly say it could be love and marriage with the Silvas. I like the Silvas. We shall see what else they bring. And our goal as we move forward is to support Miss Winter Williams, because to be honest like that on national TV takes a lot of courage, right? And you have to be open to the criticisms and the comments. I'm not sure if she really thought about it in that way, but I guess if she's saying she's a relationship expert, she can tell us what not to do, okay? What not to do, especially during COVID, when you feel alone and you feel sad and you feel depressed and you feel overwhelmed. Don't meet anybody. That's not a time to go out and meet anyone. So maybe they were just like meeting on the phone, huh? FaceTiming? I don't know how that relationship, how do you even develop a relationship during COVID? Especially when it was in the peak, with so many unknowns. So I'm curious to know what their dating looked like. Did they like go to the park? Anyway, I don't know. I can't. So if you have any suggestions or you heard anything, please put it in the comments section. Thank you so much. And don't forget, show your support for the channel, please, by hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so you'll know when I upload a video. I am really getting my rhythm on this. I'm enjoying it so much. Thank you so much for the increased views. I just need you to hit the subscribe button before you leave. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.